Hello, beautiful people, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and children of all ages. This is Jeffrey Daniel again, coming to you from Abuja, Nigeria. Now, you know what? I would like to do something short and sweet, but nah, I can't do nothing short and sweet. So I would advise you guys, if you need to put me on pause so you can grab a snack, go get you something to drink. If it's cold where you are, get something nice and warm, because we're going to take our time and go through this, you guys. So I would like for you guys to just get comfortable for a while and ride with this, okay? Now, first of all, I'd like to give my disclaimer that anything I say and stand for is not meant to be discriminative against any individual, any group of people, or any race of people. I am not a racist or prejudiced person. It's just not in my DNA. I couldn't waste a moment of my life force being that way, okay? And I always endeavor to be the voice of reason in these uncertain and turbulent times and bring you the truth in a climate of fake news where facts don't matter. And if you find any of my truths uncomfortable, please keep in mind the truth has no obligation to be comfortable. It just has to be honest. Okay? So I'd like to thank all of you guys for checking in with me, for riding with me, giving me your perspectives, giving me your feedback. If you guys want to prescribe, go ahead and do that. If you just want to hang out with me and move on, hey, it's your thing. Do what you want to do, okay? So, my beloved people, what we are witnessing is the final and long-awaited, overdue addressing of the biggest underlying problem in Western society: racism. This is the racial revolution, and America is in the hot seat. Don't fear it, embrace it. Okay? So, for centuries, we've been trying to progress and just walk away from something that has been stuck to the bottom of our shoes like toilet paper. But until you bend down and recognize that foul smell is emanating from that object stuck to the bottom of your shoes and make an effort to remove it and clean your shoes off, then we will continue to drag that nasty and unwanted smell wherever we go, while other people are looking on too embarrassed for us to even bring it to our attention. America and Europe, among a few other countries, have been dressing up in the finest designer name attire that money can buy, but all along, dragging that stinking piece of toilet paper on the bottom of his shoes called racism and acting oblivious to the stench. As I told you all before in previous posts, people do not react to change in real time. So all these decades of racial tension that has been culminating into a big crescendo, and here it is. You know, it's like that clogged up bathroom pipe, where hair and other debris has been accumulating over months, but you just never bother to clean it out. Or you just remove bits so you can see the top, but you keep going back, brushing your teeth, combing your hair, shaving your face and underarms. Eventually that pipe is going to back up and water will overflow over your beautiful bathroom floor. Now, you're forced to deal with a huge cleanup job that could have been avoided if only you had just addressed the issue much earlier and kept that pipe free of dirt and debris. Okay, I'm sorry for the long analogies, you guys, but I'm just trying to help you all visualize the situation in a more graphic term, because apparently words are not being effective. Within this first fiscal year alone, we have witnessed some of the most prominent anti-racial movements in history. The Black Lives Movement, the Ahmaud Arbery, the George Floyd protests that took the world by storm, the Breonna Taylor protests, among others in between. And now we're being faced with a whole new anti-racial movement coming from the Asian community. Did anyone not see a pattern taking shape over the years, over the decades, over the centuries? Now, I don't mean to boast, but once again, I was addressing these issues long before they exploded onto the major news networks. Months ago, I spoke against the Japanese jazz pianist that was viciously attacked in a New York subway. Then I recently addressed the senseless and brutal physical attacks against Asian American citizens. Now it's become a full movement and somewhat shocking to the American public at large. I tell you guys my perspicacity. I'm watching what's going on. I'm feeling what's going on. and I'm not a news reporter. I'm not here to report the news, but I'm here to give us a perspective and give us another angle at what's going on and to help us deal with these things. I'm trying to be the voice of reason here, okay? All right. I don't like to feed into the mayhem and the madness, but I like to try to find solutions so we can find solutions together. Because at the end of the day, we're all in this together. If you're in another part of the country, if you're in another part of the world, if you're another culture, but on this globe, we're all in this together, okay? All right, let me get through this, you guys. Now, you guys get comfortable now. I hope you guys are comfortable. If you want to go grab that warm drink, if you want to grab that snack or whatever, you guys, ride with me through this, okay? Here we go. You can put me on pause and go get what you need to get and come back, okay? I'll wait. Oh, it's on pause. I don't need to wait. Okay. Anyway, all right, here you guys. But after a series of what was to believe isolated incidents and attacks against Asians in America, sadly, a horrific killing spree had to grab the attention of the mass media. The wanton shooting and killing of predominantly Asian women at the massage parlors in Atlanta, Georgia. It's so tragic it had to come to this. And I offer my condolences to the victims and their families, to all of those people involved. Now the Asian community has come out en masse to protest against these killings and the plethora of abuses that they have as a community been confronted with over the many decades living in America. America is finally confronted with its racial revolution, and it's a damn shame it took this damn long to come. One thing we have to thank Donald Trump about is for getting all the racist rats out of the woodworks and making themselves known and counted. For too long have they been hiding behind sheep's clothing but bearing wolves' fangs, making policies to keep people of color at a disadvantage and patting us on our backs with lies and deceit. So, as America and Europe takes a good look at itself, how can they continue as nations while continuing a system that is built to polarize and hold some of your most valuable citizens in a lesser regard? Now, I don't want to sound redundant about this, but you already have to look at where we are today as developed nations because of the insurmountable contributions to our societies by people of color. But yet, these very same societies that benefit from our contributions tend to downplay our involvement and our presence. Oh, Asian Americans, in case you thought you were white just because you assimilated closer into the white societies, you're still considered a person of color to them. And I know a lot of you Asians have married into white families and now consider yourselves one among them, but sorry to have to bust your pretty little bubble, you are not one of them. No more than Serena Williams is, no more than Tiger Woods is, no more than Charles Barkley or Michael Jordan is one of them. And that's a good thing. It's a good thing to be proud of who and what you are, to be a proud representative of your own outstanding race. What's wrong with that? And I'm not talking anti-white at all. I'm not talking anti-white. This isn't anti-white. I'm sadly having to remind us that it is okay and acceptable to be who we were born to be as non-white humans. So I'm not trying to offend people, you guys. Sometimes the truth is uncomfortable. I'm telling you guys. And the saddest thing about this whole thing, about looking down on ethnic people by the European system, is ethnic people were here on the planet first, millennia before the Europeans rose out of the caves of the Caucasus Mountains. This is not meant to be a diss. It's just a universally acknowledged and agreed upon incontrovertible fact, okay? Let me not get tongue-tied. Where's my water? I don't know where you guys are, but it's still hot in Abuja. And this is March 24th. Okay. So, I'm telling you guys, it is just a universally acknowledged and agreed upon incontrovertible fact, all right? For those of you who haven't learned real history, okay? I have always been extremely uncomfortable with the moronic phrase, I see no color. I'm colorblind. How in the hell do you not recognize the beautiful diversity of humans on this planet? The differences are meant to be observed, admired, and celebrated, just as a bouquet of flowers is admired by the contrast of various colors of its petals, just as the prisms of the rainbow displays a spectrum of colors. Our racial and cultural differences are meant to be admired and held in great regard to each other, not ignored or washed away. So these people coming out, oh, I see no colors. I'm colorblind. No, see colors, okay? Colors are here. Colors are here. They're here for a reason, but they should be admired. We should be celebrating our differences. Even here in Nigeria, there are different ethnic groups in that, but we can celebrate eating some of the Hausa food, eating some of the Yoruba food, eating some of the Igbo food, listen to the different music, listen to that. And it goes on and on. Globally, we're here to be in a celebration of humanity and nature, So stop acting like you don't see color. You see color, okay? Do you know how many people grew up with serious inferiority complexes just because they were born a certain color or a member of a certain race? No one chooses who their parents are going to be before they're born. And no child should feel a social complex because of the color of their skin or what culture their family is a member of. I personally would urge the Black and Latino communities to come out in droves and support the Asian community in their stand against racism. I know there have been some incidents in the Black communities with Asians that have been very contentious, but I saw many Asians coming out in support of the Black Lives Matter movement and the George Floyd movements. At the end of the day, it's the ethnic people as a collective that has been feeling the brunt of the racist white system that has been in effect since the creation of the United States of America. So, I want to run down some facts to you guys that you might not be aware of, and some incidents, some history. The Chinese were being brutally abused when they came to America in the 1850s during the gold rush and the frontier crossings, building railroads and tunnels, and they suffered the Chinese Exclusion Act, which impetus was built on discrimination. And I want you guys to look this up. When I give you guys these historical, facts or dates or whatever, you guys can Google it for yourself. The Chinese Exclusion Act in the 1850s, okay? And you guys can read about all that history of what they went through. Then, the Japanese Americans, wait a minute, I didn't say Japanese, I said the Japanese Americans suffered what was so gracefully named internment camps during World War II, even though they were American citizens or even had family members fighting in the American military at the time of their displacement. Now, I love their wordplay with, semantics. If it's Nazi Germany, it's called a concentration death camp. If it's Nazi Germany, it's described as a concentration death camp. But if it's World War II America, it's called an internment camp. See how they play with semantics? See how they do? Now, why am I bringing this up? Okay, and listen to this, you guys. This is coming from my heart. Okay. I was born in 1955, exactly 10 years after the Second World War. I was born in East Los Angeles, just over the First Street Bridge that separates Little Tokyo from my government housing projects called Aliso Village. It's the Boyle Heights district, predominantly Mexican with blacks and Asian. Now, I had a best friend who was Japanese when I was about 8 or 9 years old in elementary school. I know his name was Bobby. If I remember right, his name was Bobby Kizu, if I remember right. Now, I remember going to his house after school sometimes, and they didn't actually live in my projects, but just up the hill a bit from the projects. But what I clearly remember was when he went home to change or notify his mother that he was coming out to play with me, his mother would come to the screen door. That's when they had those screen doors with those little hooks on them. You guys remember that, okay? The screen doors with the hooks, okay? His mother would come to the screen door and she would look at me through the screen door. She never invited me in. And I sat on the steps waiting for Bobby to come out and play, but she was looking at who her son was playing with. If she spoke to me, I can't clearly remember. I don't remember if she spoke to me or not, but she was very quiet and stealth-like. Now that I know and I'm aware of the history that took place at that time and just before I was born, I'm understanding that she had just come out of the Japanese internment camp, living in very squalor conditions as a result of the displacement the American government imposed on the Japanese living in America. Bobby himself, like me, was born not long after his parents was released back into the American civilian population. And it's strange that they called them Japanese internment camps in America for America's citizens of Japanese descent. They were American concentration camps for Japanese who was put there because of the discrimination, because the Japanese nation had bombed Pearl Harbor. But these Japanese live in America were citizens. So they've been enduring, you guys don't understand the things that they have been enduring over these decades, because they're quiet in our society. I mean, they're coming out, you see them, now they're in movies and things like that. But you know, they just stay in the lane and do what they're doing in that, you know, but they've been there for a long time and they had to endure all this. So it's not just blacks that are in America fighting for equality and that, not to mention the Native Americans themselves who've been placed in reservations. So you guys, this is why I'm saying this racial revolution is now come to a crescendo. And now America has to face it. It's staring America dead in the eyes right now, and there's no way around it. There's no way to get around it now. I think these are very, very, how do I say? I don't want to say exciting times, but these are very, very times that we have to really take into consideration, because if we don't get over this racial hump now, we're going to continue the same battles, the same issues. Our grandchildren, the great-grandchildren, because we are the great-great-great-grandchildren of the people who was enduring this decades ago, centuries ago, okay? I think now may be the time to finally iron this thing out and get past it. We shall see. We shall see. Now, I was not aware at that time that my own grandmother was born just a generation or so away from slavery. I remember seeing graphics of Africans laying side by side like sardines in the bows of these ships, but not understanding that these were my direct, not just ancestors, but my direct relatives. So as Bobby's parents were just reacclimating themselves back into American societies, my parents were also trying to find a place to fit in a racist system that was determined to hold them at a disadvantage socially, economically, mentally, and spiritually. Thank God my mother was a very educated woman from Minneapolis, Minnesota, that's up north, and had a very strong mental constitution. And we survived some of the worst of what was being laid out to trap and break our spirits as a people in that American society. All racism is bad, and we should all stand together in solidarity against it until it's stamped out of our societies, regardless of how any good old party feels about their self-imposed positions of privilege. They're only screaming now because they see it coming to an end. That's what's going on. Once again, I urge my song that's on YouTube, on Spotify, iTunes. It's called Make Love Great Again. This should be a mantra for anti-racism and social inequality in America and then around the world. We all have a duty to speak out against it. And I know many white people are also against it as much as we are. You guys, when I'm talking pro-black, when I'm talking pro-ethnic people, that doesn't equate to anti-white people. I'm not speaking against them. I do speak against that system. I speak against the system of racism that was created by the Europeans, okay? So keep that in mind, okay? So a lot of white people are just as much against it as we are. A lot of white people that were in the abolitionist movement, in the anti-slavery movement, you guys, and marching with us side by side through the civil rights movement and the Black Lives Matter movement and the George Floyd movement and the Breonna Taylor movement, all these things. So, this is not anti-white, you guys. So don't, So, but it's the same racist system that's still in place that needs to be eliminated and revised. Better yet, reconstructed to suit today's global societies, okay? Now, I want to talk about America the Great. And at this point, America the Great what? America the Great what? America has gone from the home of the brave to the land of fear. America is one of the most unsafe societies in the world, along with Iraq, Syria, Pakistan, Libya, and so on. The only reason they're not officially calling it that is because its terrorists are homegrown white male American citizens. Now, will America ever revise its gun ownership laws? Or do we have to continue to witness or eventually become a victim ourselves of gun violence too? I was asking you all this months ago. Months ago, you guys, come on, those who have been following me. I've been asking, what so-called country wants its citizens armed with such military-grade weapons, especially after seeing the damage it's been doing to its society? And they still won't flinch or make any attempt to help stop these public shootings. Now, if you guys are not enraged and outraged by now, then something is wrong with you. Now, I'm now unequivocally convinced that the American government is being ran by a group of psychopaths. The American government is being run by a group of psychopaths. The Republican lawmaker Ted Cruz, did you guys hear what he said? Who coincidentally, he ran for the 2016 primaries for president. This guy wanted to be our president, okay? He just came out and said, and I quote, "Every time there's a mass shooting, the Democrats come out and play this ridiculous theater, trying to take guns away from law-abiding citizens." Well, I hate to be the one to break it to Ted, but it's the law-abiding citizens who are doing the mass shootings. So he equates showing human empathy to being ridiculous. I'm telling you guys, they're psychopaths. How can you witness people walking into supermarkets, walking into churches, walking into public places and mass shooting, knowing that it is legal to buy assault weapons that are meant for maximum kill? These things are military-grade weapons. What in the hell are they doing in the civilian population? What country wants these type of weapons in their population, among their citizens? 1 and 1 is 2. Mathematics, simple, okay? Guns and guns equals gun violence. Minus the guns, minus gun violence. A child can work that out, okay? Simple equation, okay? So Ted Cruz calls it a ridiculous theater for the lawmakers to get together and try to figure out how we can stop this. And what was his solution? What was Ted Cruz's solution to stop the mass shooting? You guys, I'm not making this up. This came from his mouth. Arm all civilians and let them seek out and shoot the shooters. In other words, let Americans go out and kill each other. I guess he was a big fan of that movie, The Purge, because that's exactly what it would be like. Come on, you guys. Come on, people. Come on, family. Come on. There is no other way to explain this insane government policy. We all know there's only one way to prevent this needless killing. Prevention. Remove the guns from our population, but apparently the NRA will not allow that to happen. And the GOP, the good old party, are adamant about keeping guns in the hands of the general population. So let's take a look at the why, because it's not making sense. So let's look at the why. Why would they rather endure more mass shootings of innocent citizens rather than take guns away from the public? They only say it's an infringement on their Second Amendment. Is that the only reason? Because this is an infringement on their second. I have a Second Amendment, so we should allow mass shootings and murders to continue just because I have a Second Amendment. Is that their only reason for not knowing if your family members or loved ones will make it home alive tonight after work, after school, after prayer service, after a sports game, after a nightclub, or just a simple trip to a supermarket? What is the real impetus of that reasoning? Well, look at the majority of the mass shooters and see what they look like. White, male Americans. And if you're ready to call a spade, then you have to call a spade. Because if you're not ready to call a spade, then fold up your hand and step your sad ass away from the card table. Why are white American mass murderers calmly arrested and taken into custody, while black Americans are killed on the spot for not even committing a crime? This is a blatant and direct insult on the integrity of the black community. America is telling us to our faces in no uncertain terms, if you are black, your lives are worthless. But if you're white, we will deal with you in the most humane manner, regardless of the severity of your heinous crimes. They described on a news report about the Boulder, Colorado mass murder as he was being carried away by the police as the person of interest is now in custody. The person of interest, not a murderer, not dangerous suspect, not police killer, but a person of interest. Damn. Hell, ain't I a person of interest? Isn't Mr. Beans a person of interest? If you are a mass shooter, a police killer, insurrectionist, a rapist, a serial killer, a robber, and the list goes on, but if you are white, you can be arrested on the scene of a crime and gently escorted away, and most importantly, alive. And you have the liberty to claim to be temporarily insane or a victim of having a bad day or other mental or emotional stresses. As Paul Mooney used to say, they have the complexion for the protection. There's no other way to call it. They have the complexion for the protection, while the grieving families of the victims just cry on the news reports and in courtrooms. And you guys don't even give me that playing the race card crap, okay? I told you guys before, I don't play cards, all right? And they still don't get it. They're still trying to find a way to soften the situation instead of alleviating the whole problem in a nutshell. They still want to pansy around and make universal background checks and to keep guns who they deem to be responsible citizens. Spoiler alert, any responsible citizen can potentially become a mass murderer, shooter at the snap of a mental crisis, a broken up relationship, financial market crash, or in a state of depression. Just look back at the history of murderers and listen to their reasonings for committing such heinous crimes. I also posted a video months back saying that America wasn't serious yet. And until they take guns off the streets and make it safe for citizens to go out and about their daily lives without a fear of being a victim of a mass shooting, then America is not yet serious and only has insincere hidden agendas. When Obama was pushing for tighter gun restriction laws, they damn near crucified his ass for even bringing up the subject. Just think, if the NRA and Republican lawmakers had allowed Obama to fix this problem back then, many people will still be alive today. Taking guns out of the hand of a civilian population will save American lives. Making legislative laws to criminally convict any law enforcement officers who unjustifiably kill or physically abuse innocent and non-criminal blacks and other ethnic people will save black lives. If America continues on this present course, America will eventually be destroyed by an imminent race war of epic proportions. As we have seen over the past few years, as white extremists and hate groups are making themselves more assertive by the minute, they still envision their machinations of overwhelming the American government and overthrowing it and returning it to the racist era of Jim Crow and Civil War plantation standards. They have not gone away, and they still have Trump blowing his trumpet of delusional and divisive rhetoric. America is on the precipice of a second world war. I have mentioned this. I even titled my post Second World War months back, okay? If these people have their way, I told you all about this last spring and summer, and it's becoming more evidence as incidents unfold. Now, they still do not consider Joe Biden as their president, and the Republican lawmakers are dead set on blocking all of Biden's administration's progress, the same way they did to the Obama administration. This is not politics. It's racism going on in the government. They are trying not to depolarize the American government. I just don't understand why Donald Trump isn't being arrested for sedition. Just think, if I were to start an anti-government campaign against the sitting president and his administration by spreading false and misleading propaganda, wouldn't I be arrested for inciting division and sedition against the American government? Hell yeah. The FBI, the CIA, the YMCA, they would have my home surrounded, shouting, "Come out with your hands up," over a loudspeaker. All I can say is, people, pay attention to what's going on right under your own noses, because you just may wake up to a civil war. These people are just getting started. So please be safe and protected, and stay away from big public gatherings if you don't necessarily have to be there. America is in the hot seat right now, you guys. America is in a hot seat. This is a racial revolution that's going on. With all that has been going on over the past fiscal year with the Black Lives Matter, George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, all the other ones in between. You guys, I don't mean to, discredit or overlook anyone or discount anything. But it's just so much going on. It's just overwhelming. It's getting insurmountable. Now the Asian community is now standing up. And we all have to stand together. Asian community have to stand with the blacks. The Latinos have to stand with the Asian and the black. The blacks should stand with the Asian Latino. And whites too. I am not excluding whites, you guys. Whites, of course, I want our white brothers and sisters to stand with us too. We all have to stand together as a collective against this system of racism that has been put in place by the founders of that nation and the founders of this global system. It was built on racism. It was ran and operated on racism for their advantage. But now the world has grown up. The world has developed. These societies are multiracial, and the races within these societies have now grown up in these societies. Now these societies are like, oh, well, they're here, but what do we do with them? I mean, we didn't expect them to be, toe-to-toe with us. We didn't expect them to stand equal with us, but they're here. Okay, yes, they're running our IT. They're running our AI technology. Yeah, they're now in our politics. They're now in our society. They're now becoming millionaires and billionaires. I mean, as I say, people don't react to change in real time. They never anticipated the future that is here of us coming of age within their societies, the societies that they fabricated. Now, I can't say this as much about the English society, because England is a society that was built from its indigenous people with the invasion of the Romans and the French and the Spanish, whatever like that. But their society was built over time. America is a fabricated society that was stolen from the native people and imposed upon by a foreign people. They never anticipated and looked at us as equals. They didn't see this coming, but that day is here. It's come. Now they're dealing with the results of what they created. And they're going to have to deal with it. And I know some white people who don't get this or don't understand it are like, well, why do we have to give blacks this? Why do we have to give Latins, a Mexican? You're not giving us anything. You're not giving us anything. We earn what we have and what we want. We have contributed so much and built these societies. There's not a handout. This is not a charity case. This is just us getting our just due. As Malcolm X said, that's the only critique that I agree with what he had against Martin Luther King. Instead of going to the White House and the Washington D.C. and begging for equal rights and begging for this, because what they give to you, they could just equally take away from you. But Malcolm X said, we get what we deserve. We demand our equal respect. We demand. Now, if we didn't earn the respect, you don't deserve to demand anything. But once you deserve respect, yes, you demand it. It shouldn't even need to be demanded, because when you recognize respect, you got to recognize, you got to bow down, you got to capitulate to the fact that you're not superior to anybody else, individually or racially. I don't give a damn how much money you got in your bank. Being a billionaire doesn't make you a superior human being. It makes you a wealthier human being. It doesn't make you any more superior than anybody. So I would also like to encourage our human family to stop living your lives based on materialism. The car you drive, how much money you got, that doesn't make you a better person. It can make you a wealthier person. It can make you go out and waste money on things that you love to waste money on. Okay, all that might be fine and dandy, but did that make you a better person? Did that make you a better person? No. So you guys need to get off of this whole thing of materialism, because I got the latest gadgets, I got the latest toys, I got the latest whip. I live in a certain neighborhood. Now, these things are fine. I'm not saying you shouldn't obtain these things if you honestly earn the money for it and you have enough money to obtain these things. There's nothing wrong with that. But don't make it your world. Don't make it your life. Travel, see other countries, experience other cultures. Go to the homeland of your birth. If you're from African descent, visit Africa. See where your ancestors come from. If you're born in America of Asian descent, go back to your Asian country and connect with your roots. If you're born in America and you're of European descent, or South America, or wherever, you guys take time to travel, see the world. If you're an American, and I want to say this really to American citizens, learn another language if you only speak English. Learn another language. Widen your horizons, you guys. Instead of saving up money just to go to Cancun or just to go to the what do they call the Freaknik or the whatever like that. These things have their place. Save up some money and travel and go see someplace, you guys. Expand your mind. Expand your mind. And you'll be surprised when you learn other languages, because learning other languages helps you relate to history better. When you start learning the etymology of words, when you start learning about transliteration, other doors start opening up in your mind. Your knowledge starts compounding, and you start seeing things from a different perspective, a wider perspective. That's why I'm here giving you guys my perspective, okay? So I'm gonna wrap this up. I don't mean to keep you guys this long. Let's see what happens with these. I don't want to say gun control laws. I would like to say gun elimination laws. Stop putting Band-Aids on bullet wounds. They need to get the damn guns off of the streets and out of the hands of the general public and civilians. Why are the Republicans and certain whites so afraid to let go of their guns? What are they afraid of? What do they feel they need to arm themselves from? From their system. Is that guilt? Is that their admission of guilt? Well, we can't get rid of these guns because the way we're treating these people, they might want to come after us. They might want retribution. Is that answering the questions, you guys? Come on now. Come on. So, you guys, let's keep our eye on that. Let's join together with our Asian family, our Latino family, our Black family, and our white family, those who are concerned. Let's get out there, you guys, and let's stamp out racism once and for all. America, you're in the hot seat. You have a chance to get this done. Globally, you guys, let's get this done. Let's get this done, okay? It's time. We have a window of opportunity now. As I said, with all these lockdowns and this pandemic, we can come out of it better than we went into it. And we have this opportunity now, you guys. Let's take advantage of it. Make love great again. That's the mantra. Make love great again. Make love great again. Spread the love, okay? All right, you guys. I'm going to get out of here. Please take care of yourselves. I love you all. Please continue to take care of yourselves with this virus. I know you're contemplating, am I going to get this vaccine? If I'm not going to get the vaccine, but apparently it seems like it might be the better choice. I'm not here to tell people what to do and what not to do, but talk to your doctors about it, have consultation, and understand what you really need to do to protect yourself from what's really going on in this world. Okay, you guys? Until the next time, peace, love, and make love great again. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.